At no point did any of the anchors on CNN yesterday mention what was so glaringly obvious. In the space of just 24 hours, that channel went from the Russia conspiracy network to an extended advertisement for the Affordable Care Act as written by Barack Obama. The viewers, those who remained, must have wondered what the hell was going on. Where's my segment about how Don Jr. is going to prison? I want to hear more about that. But no. On Pelosi's orders, it was Healthcare Week on CNN. And they were back at it this morning, assiduously. Starting at 6 a.m. today, every single show on CNN's morning lineup and all through the day regurgitated Pelosi's talking points to the word about health care.
Giving House Speaker Nancy Pelosi and congressional Democrats just the opening they needed.
And it puts health care for millions of Americans in some level of uncertainty and also jeopardy. What would happen? I mean, what would happen? What would millions of Americans lose?
Just to be clear, Republicans do not have a plan to replace Obamacare. The fate of health care for more than 20 million Americans insured through Obamacare and Medicaid expansion hangs in the balance.
As of this moment, Republicans have not offered a single new alternative to Obamacare.
Some people characterizing this as a gift to Nancy Pelosi going into this next 2020 election.
Get rid of Obamacare, says the Trump administration. Okay, so what's the plan to replace it? We don't know, says the Trump administration.
Simply repealing Obamacare without Republicans coalescing behind an alternative would throw the healthcare system into chaos.
That is laughable.
You read my mind. I wanted to get you to respond to the president saying that we will have a plan. Laughable. Noted.
What does that tell you? It tells you where your news comes from. Democratic officials pick the topic and the storyline. Their servants in cable news dutifully repeat it to the word all day long. CNN is not a news outlet. It's a super PAC. It is running unregulated campaign ads 24 hours a day. Someone ought to call the FEC about it. Joe Concha writes about media for the Hill newspaper, and he joins us tonight. Joe, thanks a lot for coming on. So Pelosi says on Monday we're pivoting to health care. The next day, CNN scraps its lineup and does health care in every single hour. Could it be more obvious?
After listening to that montage, it appears that synchronized swimming is more than just an Olympic sport. Apparently, it's being played in non-Olympics years as well. Look, that's called the pivot, right? We talked about this last week, I think, that the pivot would be made. And sure enough, here we are at the pivot. And look, I would say if you were to tell me this a couple of days ago, I'd say, I don't know about, the DNC or Pelosi then telling a network what sort of narrative they should go with. But then it hit me, and I remember this, the WikiLeaks dump of 2016, where you had emails that prove a point around this completely, where you had reporters talking about quote approval, going to their sources first, saying, hey, is this okay, if I use this or I don't use this? Sharing stories in advance was another example. Teeing up stories and narratives, and then emails talking about which reporters are the best to go to for that from the DMC, and then openly advising campaigns on strategy. So does this sound crazy? Well, maybe not, because right on paper in those emails, we saw this happen once. There's no reason to think that it isn't happening again, right, based on what you just laid out.
So you've been in and around TV a long time, and you know that TV producers don't really want to talk about healthcare. They want to talk about sex scandals. It's not the juiciest topic. And so it's not like CNN needs something new to talk about. They can't keep telling the same lies about collusion. But they wouldn't naturally all pick healthcare. The Democratic Party has decided that healthcare is the story of the day, and CNN just dutifully repeats it. And I have to wonder at some point, isn't this unregulated campaign activity?
It almost appears that way. But in a lot of networks, believe it or not, shows are very competitive with each other. They're competitive about guests. They're competitive about who has the better show and the higher ratings. You say, no, we're all on the same team. No, it doesn't really work like that at a lot of networks, where different producers say, what are we going to do that's different from other shows to make us unique and make more people watch us? And to see that sort of echo chamber, that's why yesterday CNN didn't even average more than 540,000 viewers. This is a 40-year 50-year-old network with big brand name in a crazy news cycle where you're talking about Smollett getting released, Avenatti getting arrested, the Mueller report, how anybody isn't rising in ratings in this particular week when it's just been nuts, gift-wrapped for any cable news network to only average 530,000 viewers. That's almost impossible to do unless your viewers don't trust you anymore based on all the speculation that you did recklessly and randomly over the last 2 years, Tucker.
Yeah, if a primetime show loses 50% of its audience in one day, either there's been a power outage in half the country or something's really wrong. They must be worried about this.
They have to be worried about this, Tucker, because I've seen purges before, 10, 15% drops. But to lose that sort of audience, again, I mean, there are so many things to talk about. I do a talk radio show here in New York, and we can't get to everything we want to because it's just been that insane. So where is everybody going? They're going somewhere else because clearly they were promised something for 2 years, that you're going to get collusion between Trump or Trump campaign officials and Russia. And it's like you work for 2 years, you get your paycheck, and the paycheck bounces. And then instead of contrition, you see like the head of the Titanic, the captain, saying that the orchestra did a great job playing the music totally while the ship was going down. It's nuts.
They told you were getting a pony for Christmas, and they gave you a bag of hair, and you're disappointed. I think their viewers are disappointed. Joe Concha, we are never disappointed with you. Great to see you tonight. Thank you.
Good to see you.